From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, August the 31st, 2021. Bahrain's first ever ambassador to Israel arrived in Israel today to officially take up his role. Khaled Youssef Al-Jalama tweeted this morning in Hebrew, English, and Arabic, "I am honored to announce that I will be arriving in Tel Aviv today to begin my post as Bahrain's first ambassador to Israel." And just before landing, he wrote, "The opportunity to fulfill His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's vision of peaceful coexistence with all nations is a privilege that I will hold in high regard." Director General of Israel's Foreign Ministry, Alon Ushpiz, shared the news welcoming Al-Jalama, tweeting, "We are looking forward to what will no doubt be a very productive tenure, advancing relations between our two countries." Israel and Bahrain normalized ties almost 1 year ago as part of the Abraham Accords. The Times of Israel reports that an Israeli woman was moderately hurt today when rocks were thrown at her car by a group of Palestinians standing on the side of the road in the West Bank. The woman was treated at the scene by paramedics and taken to the hospital. Jewish organizations shared their outrage over tweets this weekend from Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who condemned Israel for failing to return the body of Palestinian Mai Afara, making no mention that Afara tried to commit a terror attack. Tlaib writes, "Mai was a mother, loving daughter, and successful PhD student. She was killed by the Israeli government last June. Israel won't release her body to her family." But making no mention that Afana was killed by the IDF after she tried to run over IDF troops at a security checkpoint in the West Bank and then came at soldiers with a knife. B'nai B'rith International wrote of what they called Tlaib's continued anti-Israel smear campaign, tweeting, "You are a sitting member of Congress. Stop the lies. Stop excusing terrorism." And in a response to JBS, the World Jewish Congress North America wrote it expressed its continued outrage at Congresswoman Tlaib's relentless attacks on Israel and unabashed and shameful support for Palestinian terrorists. Writing, "Sitting members of the U.S. Congress should not be allowed to support terrorists. They violate the sacred trust to our country's safety and security. For shame, Ms. Tlaib." Tlaib also tweeted of Israel's holding Afani's body, "The Palestinian people deserve the same dignity as any other human being. To deny the right to see their loved ones for a modicum of closure is another form of painful violence from the U.S.-sponsored Israeli arsenal." Tlaib makes no mention of the fact that Palestinian terror group Hamas has been holding the bodies of 2 slain IDF soldiers, Hadar Golden and Oron Shaul, since 2014, as well as holding 2 Israeli civilians, Avira Mengistu and Hisham al-Sayed, captive in Gaza for years. Israel's High Court, by the way, has ruled that the IDF has the legal right to hold on to the bodies of slain terrorists for use as potential leverage, like for the return of Israeli citizens being held captive. Veteran actor Ed Asner has died. Born to Jewish immigrant parents in Kansas City, Asner served in the U.S. military and then began working in theater, performing on Broadway in the Three-Penny Opera in 1956 and Face of a Hero with Jack Lemmon in 1960. Asner then began a long and successful television career, which earned him 7 Emmy Awards, several of them for his portrayal of the iconic Lou Grant in The Mary Tyler Moore Show, and later on the spin-off Lou Grant. Also winning an Emmy for his work in the miniseries Roots. Asner died at his home in California on Sunday. He was 91. Turning now to Tokyo, Jewish Asian American Ian Seidenfeld won a gold medal in table tennis at the Paralympic Games this weekend, defeating the world champion, Peter Rosenmeyer. The 20-year-old and his teammates are coached, by the way, by Seidenfeld's father, Mitchell, a 4-time Paralympic table tennis medalist. Both Seidenfelds have pseudochondroplasia dwarfism, an inherited bone growth disorder. Upon his win Saturday, the younger Seidenfeld said, "I couldn't have dreamt for anything better." Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, August the 31st at 7 o'clock. It's a look at the Jewish commitment to social justice with Rabbis Jill Jacobs and Shai held. At 8 o'clock, we bring you more from our new series, Durban Revisited, with the first of two panel discussions led by B'nai B'rith International's Director of United Nations and Intercommunal Affairs, David Michaels, former Maldives Foreign Minister Ahmed Shaheed, South African activist Olga Meshoe Washington, academic Gerald Steinberg, and Sherri Mandell, the mother of an Israeli terror victim, who discuss anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Kenneth Levin, who suggests why some American Jews are anti-Israel. At 10, Aluf Ben discusses liberal Zionism with Linda Scherzer. And coming up next, it's the ILTV's Insider. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, August the 31st, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.